So, all right. So we're hot now.
Check.
Well, how does that sound? I sound a touch hot. You sound a touch low. Give me another. Give me another.
Check. See, I don't ever know if it's my headphones that are too loud or my microphone's too loud.
All right. Here I am turning your headphones down a touch.
Sounds better.
Is that better for you?
Yeah.
I'm going to turn mine down a touch. Let's see here. So, yeah, we're hot. Hopefully, we're dialed in. Hopefully, we got the levels good. That's the thing.
Can you not just set them to a certain point where you know they're good, or does it change every time?
It changes every time because if the microphone's a half inch this way, or you're a little higher or a little lower, and that's what I was about. And when it's three of us talking, when it's just two of us, it's hard for me to, hey, levels are off. And we're just having a conversation.
Yeah.
When there's three, it's like, oh, wait a minute, that Brad's a little off.
Yeah.
And also what happened?
What happened
was, and I'm not blaming you. You always take these things I say as criticism. You're like my wife almost. But
don't ever compare me to your wife. She is an amazing woman.
She is a tremendous woman.
I'm just a humble man.
Sometimes both of y'all take suggestions just in the wrong way. It's not a critique. It's sometimes and I do it too, but it's real easy. You have the mic this way, and all of a sudden you're talking over here this, and that
guilty.
That really throws levels off. And then there's always I need to get rid of those breaths. I don't know what that's going to take. I quit smoking years ago. You think I'd be better by now?
Me too.
Shall we?
Absolutely.
Welcome once again to ShiftLess. Good God, we love bicycles.
And this weather.
And this amazing weather. The bestest weather we could possibly... Well, a little breezy, but I will take it.
I'll take it all day long.
This is nice stuff.
Yes.
But...
Busted out the Carhartts this morning.
I noticed. I've got the line flannel on.
Yes.
I went out the door in just a t-shirt. It's like, ooh, not quite.
Yeah.
Need a little more.
Yeah, I wait for this time of year every year. I feel like it was a little late this year.
It's probably really close to on schedule. But is it here? My lovely bride said something about.
Don't you even? I'm not even going to entertain this conversation.
All right.
Excuse me. Sorry, my allergies.
Yeah, allergies are kicking my ass. Oh, so bad, so badly. No ifs, ands, or buts about that. But anyway.
So bicycles.
Did
you watch any of their Red Bull Rampage?
I did not.
So worth watching.
I started to watch some sort of live stream, but it was like saying weather delay or something. I don't know. Yeah, so I never got around to it.
The second runs kind of got screwed up from the wind, and that's typically what happens every year. But it was...
So the weather issue was wind? Is that what was going on? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, when you're jumping 80, 90 feet, the wind makes a difference.
I get that. I was somewhat confused. It's like, I don't think there's storms out that way, are there? So the wind does make sense. But okay. Yeah. So it was worth checking out, huh?
So awesome. Those guys are just animals. I don't want to spoil anything because it's still so fresh, but...
Oh, spoil it.
It was just... There was so much progression. There's so much... guys going so big. And, I don't ever want to see anybody wreck at all. Because it's so remote and there's so much exposure there. But there was a couple of guys that are just on edge the whole time. And it's this beautiful dance between chaos and control. And it's so scary. Even sitting at the house watching it going, just being freaked out.
If you've got pucker factor, can you imagine what it's like
It's insane, man. Those guys are a whole nother level.
So when you say progression, what are you? I mean, just bigger, farther, or what is progression?
I mean, all of that. But I mean, the winning guy, and forgive me, I can't keep everybody's name straight.
Joe. It was Joe, right?
Yeah, Joe. I mean, these guys are doing. So not only is it an all natural course. I mean, yes, it's
modified,
man sculpted, but it's all natural. You know, there's not wooden ramps or drops or anything like that. And these guys are doing front flips and double back flips, tail whip back flips, turn downs. I mean, all kinds of stuff that used to be just for controlled environments, and they're just throwing them in the middle of a insane downhill run that I would be scared just to ride.
Sure.
Like even the tame parts, I'm still going, I don't even know if I would hit that. You know, I have to be real with myself. It's easy for me to sit here and go, oh, I would tear that shit up. But I know me better than that. I'd be scared as hell. It's wild.
Well, there's a reason you would, because probably you should be.
Yeah.
I'm assuming here. I mean, what's the average age of these cats?
I was just about to say it's a young man's game for sure. I think getting up there is like 34.
Yeah.
And I just turned 49 yesterday. Old fuck.
Happy belated birthday,
buddy.
you old fuck you.
Thanks, buddy. It was it's quite good. Quite good.
What'd you do for your birthday?
I went to Costco.
Nice. All those samples. Did they give you extra samples?
I don't do the samples at Costco. No, I took my broken monkey to Velo. Legendarily, my new frame will be here today.
Okay.
And get built up today.
To hit the road tomorrow. For the
BT Epic.
BT Epic.
So hopefully all that works out. If not, I guess I'm just going to ride my Fargo.
So the everything stays the same, but the frame.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, identical. It's a swap for swap. I mean, there shouldn't be any.
Understood, but it's still just throwing everything on. Take your toolkit with you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do a pre-ride.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'll pre-ride on Friday, but I mean, I had the opportunity to build up a couple of other bikes, but it was, in my mind, it was just too close to change bikes. You know, we always talk about spend time on the bike you're going to do your event on.
Definitely. I think that's one of the most understated pieces of advice that's out there.
Yeah. I mean, and I've done some big rides on that bike recently that I think are going to serve me well. But, you know, building up, Adam offered me a pivot less. Aston offered me a pivot less. I have a beautiful Chumba hanging in my garage. And
you weren't without options.
I wasn't without options, but the whole thought process was, I'm like a week and a half away. I don't want to try to relearn a new bike.
Turn everything upside down.
Yeah.
All right. So walk the audience through what exactly you are doing this weekend. Not everyone's up to speed with what the Breck Epic format is.
No, it's not Breck Epic. It's
I'm sorry, BT Epic.
It's okay.
It's so confusing.
Yeah. It's epic either way.
It's epic.
One of my favorite events of the year, no discredit to present company, it's set and setting and just everything that is involved. It's the Berryman Trail, and this race starts in Steelville, Missouri, out of I forgot the name of the campground, Birds, I think. And it is 50 miles of just beautiful single track. The race starts and ends in the same campground where all the party festivities take place. There's a hayride, and they give away so much swag. I've never seen so much swag given away at just a random event. They have live music, free beer, bonfire, hayride. I mean, dinner. It's the whole kit and caboodle, and it's just gorgeous. And every year the weather is about like this. It's so amazing. So
So they know when to hold it.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Are fall colors usually turning up there yet, or
Not quite.
Not quite.
Not quite. I don't think. But I don't know. We've had such a dry year this year. They may. But
Okay. So is 50 miles the only option out there, or do they have shorter distances?
yeah, I think that's it.
Okay.
I think there's just different classes.
This is all racing, or there's just a casual fun ride aspect, or is everything technically competitive?
Oh, it's a race.
Oh,
it's a race. I won't be racing it, but I'll be racing myself.
Again, not everybody's familiar with,
Right.
with the format here. But it is all single track. It is all mountain bike.
I mean, to say it's all single track and be 50 miles is tough. I mean, there's definitely some connector pieces.
Those don't count.
Way more single track than Watchdog Challenge.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
And the ride itself is Saturday or Sunday?
Saturday.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's, I think, like right at 5,000 feet of climbing. It's a hilly course, but I mean, every climb you do, you get paid back for it.
So do they start out in waves for your different categories? Is there a mass start? Is it a run around the Rosie, or how does this all work?
They do waves, and I can't remember if it was the same way last year. I did not race last year. I can't remember why. I really don't know what my excuse was last year. But I did not race last year. But this year, the pros start, and then I think 2 minutes later, single speed starts. So we're going to be right behind the pros. Not that I'll see any of them.
Oh man, you're going to swoop in there and spoil it.
Going to be on a single speed. Those guys are going to be on gears and gone. But and then it does a pretty good job of thinning itself out before you get into single track. You go through the campground with a neutral lead out, go across a couple of low water crossings, and then they turn you onto this road, and that's where the lead out pulls off, because from there it's a climb. It's like I think it's 4 miles from where we start to where we enter single track, and the start line, that is. Mm-hmm. And you're climbing pretty much the whole time.
Okay.
Nothing insane,
but definitely enough to spread everyone out.
Yeah, enough to gas a lot of people before they hit single track, you know. And then from there, it's just so much fun, just flowy, just nothing overly technical. You know, it's I mean, I'd say the east side of North Shore is more technical than this trail is. There are definitely some tech spots. There's a creek crossing that's towards the beginning of the single track that always weeds out the roadie fitness, because people get there and they just.
So how many people in total do you expect to be there for Saturday?
Man, it's a big day. I'd say, man, I'd hate to guess. I want to say it, but north of 500.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how many of those are going to be in your single speed category that you're going to dominate?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. Single speed's a pretty big class there. There's typically, if I had to guess, probably 50 single speeders at the least. But I don't know. I don't track all those numbers and stuff.
Understand. Again,
I know. I'll take better notes this time.
Trying to paint a picture.
Yeah, I'll take better notes. There's so many people, and the other cool thing is this campground is gigantic, because they're. I think this is the other reason they host it this time of year, because it's right next to the river. And so what the campground primarily does is they run shuttles there, so you can kayak, canoe, raft, tube down the river.
Sure.
And they'll pick you up and bring you back to the campground. So there is every form of camping you can think of. You can pitch a tent. You can park an RV, you can park a motorhome, like gigantic thing, and they have cabins that are tiny little, I mean, like as big as this little area right here, all the way up to 3-story cabins that sleep like 20 people. Mm-hmm. And the campground's just massive. So it's so cool, because everybody that's going to be there this weekend is there for the same reason. It's not like there's some random camper there. You know? So it's just a really cool bike event. Kuat, your people, are one of the headline sponsors of it, so they always show their newest racks, and they have a big demo day, and there's a bunch of other people that usually set up shop. Club Ride is usually there, and bike manufacturers, shoe people. There's local breweries that bring a tap wagon out. You know, they have a trailer that has a bunch of taps on it. They give out beer straight across the finish line. It's
So is this all going on Friday as well? Or
Friday's pretty quiet. You know, everybody's getting ready for the race.
So is Sunday festivities and party area, or
Saturday?
It's all Saturday.
Yeah, because the race starts at I think we go off at like 8:30.
Okay,
and
so you're done by
typically like 1:30.
I was about to say 2.
Yeah.
Okay.
My goal this year is right at 5 hours.
Okay.
I'd like to get 5 hours.
What gearing are you running?
Man, that's tough, right? I've been running the 3220. Like, I looked back through my notes with Strava, and I ran a 3220 every year. And that's what I run here, which makes it even more interesting. But recently, since my monkey's been broken, I have been riding my Fargo, and I've been finding myself pushing a harder gear, like on North Shore, where I normally run a 3220. So I've been thinking, man, maybe I should put a stiffer gear on there. But I don't think I'm going to. I mean, I'm definitely not going to at this point. But
Right. I hear you.
I've had fleeting thoughts of that. So I'll run a 3220. Long answer to a short question.
Okay. So your goal is sub 5.
Mm-hmm.
What's your best time there previously?
So my rolling time was 5:12, but overall time was like 5:30 something.
Okay, so it's 5:30 something. We don't count rolling time.
Well, it is a contributing factor when you think, like, you know, if I went and looked at it, I spent over 20 minutes effing around. So if I stop less and roll faster, I can do it.
I do comprehend that aspect of it. Sure. If you can properly factor that into the equation, that's a really tough one to do.
Especially since I'm not going to roll a Camelback. Like if I rolled a Camelback and just didn't stop.
So how does resupply work out there?
There's a aid station almost every 10 miles.
Okay.
So, and they're pretty well set up, and you can run neutral support. I mean, not neutral support. You can run support. You know, the fast people will do Camelback swaps and shit like that, you know, and have people handing them food and bottles or whatever.
Sure.
I just roll solo and roll up to the water and refill my water, throw my tailwind in and go, you know. The good thing is I've spent a lot of time on my fueling, much like, you know, we've discussed. I've been riding every ride the way I'm going to do this ride. And I dare say I'm overly confident in how everything is set.
You're comfortable with where you're at.
Yeah, and I'm to the point where, like, I don't even have a lot of pressure on this race. I mean, it's just a 50-mile ride, and I feel like I'm more ready than I've ever been. So I'm pretty excited.
Good. You should be.
Yeah. And
I'm excited for you.
And it hit me yesterday. I was talking to my mom, and we were talking about this event, and she's same way. She's like, so remind me why this event's so cool and blah, blah, blah. And I go, well, and I'm not planning on doing it next year. And she goes, well, if it's so awesome, why? And I said, because I'm going to turn 50 while I'm doing the rat. And she's like, oh, okay. Just a little 1,000 miles? I go, yeah.
We gotta get your mom out here for next year to cheer you on at the halfway point or something like that.
She's awesome.
That actually, halfway point will be close to your birthday next year, won't it?
Yeah. What day does it start?
We're going back to our normal schedule where whatever the I just set up registration. We had our first 2025 Rat 1000 registrant this morning.
Really? Justin Carey?
Nope.
No?
No. His nemesis. Sean
McAfee. Oh wow, he's coming back.
Hey, that's the way I'm taking it,
Dude, that is the ultimate gauntlet right there.
Yeah.
I mean, to sign up that early and signal like that, because Justin signed up for this year.
Yes.
And he told me, he goes, I just wanted to see the routes.
I was about to say, I think he was probably just getting the route.
Yeah, but I mean, they're out there. It's
he knows he got the official route, so
Yeah.
that's all good.
So you're going to start on the 10th? October 10th?
Is that the Saturday?
Oh, the 11th.
Yeah, starts on the 11th. And
Okay.
what traditionally we do Columbus Day weekend. So some people have Columbus Day as an extra day off.
It's Indigenous Peoples Day, sir.
It's on the calendar. It says Columbus Day.
I know,
Thank you. So,
I know. But it also says Indigenous Peoples Day.
And I am perfectly fine.
Yeah.
I am perfectly fine with that as well. So yeah, that's the plan. That is what registration opened yesterday, and Sean signed up this morning.
I'll hurry up and sign up before it fills up.
I think I'm going to sign up today myself.
Heck yeah.
So
Heck yeah.
Definitely took the supported version out of the equation. We're going, everybody's just ride your own ride.
Yeah. I'm about it. I even found my tent already.
Tell me more.
So I watched a video on this tent, this new ultralight tent. God, I knew you were going to ask me. Let me see if I can. Well,
you're the one that brought it up.
I know. I talk a lot and don't know what the hell I'm talking about. So,
which is the whole reason for this podcast. Yeah. I'm right there with you.
It's a brand new ultralight tent by, and I can't remember the name of the company. They apparently have, let's see if I can sign in here real quick.
While you're trying to find it, I will throw out there, we're not throwing an affiliate link on it or anything, but MSR tents right now are 50% off.
Oh, wow.
That's a sweet deal.
That is. That for sure is. Let me see. Dadgummit.
And so is this a bike packing specific tent, or is this just an ultralight tent that you're going to utilize?
It's an ultralight tent.
I'm not sure what bike packing specific tents are. What makes them bike packing specific? I guess the poles fit in the frame is the idea.
Yeah, and that's that my only consideration with this is poles, because it definitely has poles. Hold up. Right. I know this doesn't make for good radio.
Yeah, and we're not going to edit this one, so I'm going to talk about stuff while you hunt around. Let's go ahead and do a plug for the 2025 RAT 1000.
Oops, sorry.
Free for Club Spinistry members. So if you are not yet a Club Spinistry member, but you're interested in the RAT 1000, just go ahead, commit to the ride. Well, I stole that, didn't I? But anyway. Go ahead, sign up for Club Spinistry. Go to rat1000.com. Sign up for the Rat. We're going to be talking about how to do that, giving folks plans on how to get ready for it. That's one of my big goals for 2025. I'm going to concentrate on helping people do multi-days like the Rat 1000 and the Texas Chainring Massacre / Privateer. That's kind of going to be everything's going to be built around that general concept. Those are our premier events for 2025 and forward. And not that we're not going to do the other ones, but the idea is for everything else to feed into people building their experience and skills and fitness specifically to do the best they can for the Privateer Invitational / Texas Chainring Massacre weekend for those that are just into one-day stuff, but those that might want to try bike packing and multi-day stuff. Let's get you geared up for the RAT 1000 so you can go out and do Tour Divider or whatever else you want to along the way.
It'll be freaking awesome. So this is a version of this tent. This other tent's about to come out. I was watching a prototype run on it, but it's a one-person tent. Durston X-Dome. The new one is a little bit different, but it's really cool because it's got a rainfly.
Yeah.
That you can set up independent. You can set up the rainfly first and then put the tent up underneath it just in case things are shitty. It's a side entry, one person, but it's asymmetrical. So you've got a built-in vestibule right here. And then on this side, it's wider. You know, it kind of tapers this way so you can put gear under here. It's
freestanding?
Yep. It's got a footprint and everything. You don't even need to stake it down unless it's windy.
It's breezy / windy.
And the whole thing weighs like sub
3 pounds.
Yeah, sub 3 pounds.
Okay.
This is not the newest
And
one.
what's the price point on this one?
$369.
Okay.
Not crazy.
No. So what pointed you in that direction?
Well, just because I want an ultralight one-person tent.
Okay,
you know?
but why Durston and not Big Agnes or MSR or what people?
That's a great question, and I don't know. I mean, I haven't bought it yet, so.
Oh, I thought you said you had.
No.
You okay?
That's what it's what I'm looking at.
Okay, it's what you're highly considering at the moment. I get it. We're on the same page.
I've
now.
identified a candidate. How about that?
There we go. There we go.
But you know, it's
episode 82 brought to you by Durston Tents.
Durston, hook a brother up. But you know, I've come to the realization, or I've accepted the fact that the hammock is not going to do it. Which I knew.
We knew
but,
that. We knew that.
It takes a little chewing.
So that means you need a sleeping pad too, or do you already have one that you're happy with?
I do not have a sleeping pad. I'll probably go with a Nemo or something.
Understood.
I don't know.
Understand.
Man, I may change my mind
you
completely
will.
before this goes down.
You will.
Yeah.
I know you will. We got way too much time for you to not change your mind at least 3 or 4 times.
I am digging my heels in the ground and saying I do still fully intend here live on the air to ride and sleep outdoors every night.
Okay.
That's my plan.
That's fine. That's perfectly fine.
I make crawfish and lie to myself, but that is my plan.
That's an excellent plan.
Yeah, I saw Peter camped. What do you say?
3 nights.
3 nights.
I think. 3 nights.
Peter picked up the pace a little bit.
Yeah.
He wasn't the Lantern Rouge this year, huh?
He
got a little fire in his step. I like it.
I think he went ahead and took an extra half day.
Yeah, at the end
when he knew that he wasn't going to catch the other two, but he had the gap on Rich and David, and I can't blame him for that. That makes all the sense in the world.
Yeah.
But he had a pretty good pace going there, trying to keep up with Tiffany and Aaron.
Yeah.
So Tiffany kicked ass like I knew she would.
Yeah.
Good job to Aaron, Peter, Rich, David, Cheryl, and I think that's everybody that pulled off the Rat 1000.
I had a question for you, and I didn't catch all the characters that were in the movie, but was there anybody that was in the documentary from last year that did the Rat this year?
I don't think anyone did. Matt Golson. Matt Golson started the Rat this year, and he pulled out for health reasons in Bonham, I think, or something like that. He was the guy that was telling the story about the bull.
Yeah. And then Fergie, he started and just rode into.
He did a mini Rat.
Yeah,
he did a mini Rat.
So is that structured mini Rat? Like, is there a cutoff, or did he just start with y'all and roll to his house?
The concept of the mini Rat is it's somebody that wants to take time and do what they can that week. Mm-hmm. And hey, if you've got only a 3-day weekend through Columbus Day, and you want to ride 3 days, just tag along with everyone else on the Rat.
I got you.
Or if you want a custom route where you ride to Bonham and need a route home, I can help you come up with an idea on how to do that.
I got you.
That's kind of what Chris did. We had a mini route that used to go from, I think, Farmersville. I can't remember specifically the start point. Maybe it was Farmersville, maybe it was Bonham, and then down basically close to his house. But it's been several years since I had verified that route, and I know that area has really grown up tremendously.
Yeah.
So we gave, between what I know and what Chris knows, he came up with a pretty good route home from.
That guy's been putting in some miles.
He has. He's up to something.
Yeah.
He's up to something.
I mean, I've known Fergie for 20 something years, and that guy, when he is motivated, he is hard to beat. I mean, he is strong.
Always has been.
Yeah. But he
comes back really quickly.
Yeah.
But yeah, and Chris, don't take this the wrong way. This is just my perception, but you're either in hero mode or zero mode.
Yeah. I was just about to say he's hot or cold.
Yeah.
But
We
all are.
Life happens.
Yeah. It really does.
It's kicking me in the balls right now. Not in the worst way. It's just, you get in a rhythm and then everything goes sideways for a week or two or three or whatever. And so you just got to find a way back onto it.
Yeah. I mean, it happens.
It does. It does happen.
Life gets in the way sometimes.
That's again, back to what we talk about on the riding everyday concept and just always being fit. When you're always fit and life happens and you have to be off the bike for a couple weeks or whatever else, you can come back.
Oh, yeah.
You can come back.
But it gets harder all the time. And the older you get, I was talking to Los last night about this very thing. Every time you kind of let your fitness go and then you start to come back, it's just harder and harder. So I'm trying to vow to just keep.
I don't disagree, and maybe I'll prove myself wrong next week when hopefully I get back on the bike full time again. I think people overestimate how quickly you do lose fitness, though. People think you're off the bike for 3 days or a week. Oh, I've lost all my. No, it's closer to somewhere in the 4 to 6 weeks range.
Yeah.
Once you start going over 6 weeks, it starts dropping off quickly there. Yeah. But if you have an off couple weeks, even an off month, you have to come back a little easy, but maybe a week or two, and you're back in form.
Yeah, I'm just as guilty as most people too. I will take off for, I'll be down or whatever, and then I'll come back and try to ride just as hard as I remember I could ride. And it's just disappointing, and you get inside your head.
It gets inside your head, but that's if you're down for any kind of extended period of time, give yourself a week or two to bring it back.
Yeah.
Don't try to do it that first day, because you're just gonna crush your own soul trying to do it that way.
Well, speaking of time on the bike, I'm looking forward to not riding for 2 days. My taper for this race.
A big old 2-day taper, huh? That's going to make all the difference in the world.
Yeah, I rode with the Fast Boys. Well, I had a dinner on Saturday, and I did a short ride on Saturday, my normal, little 14-mile loop or whatever, just to keep the legs moving, and then was going to ramble from the house and try to keep it somewhat chill, and nobody showed any interest in the ride, really. And then Adam invited me to ride from Velo Cafe down to North Shore and back with all the fast guys. Like, everybody that was on this ride is going to beat me at BT Epic.
Okay.
And so we rode from the shop down to North Shore and rode 1 through 5. So we came in at Lakeside, rode, all the way to the short west, turn around, and then rode back to Lakeside and popped out. And these guys were absolutely just hammering. We were pace lining at like 20 miles an hour quite a few times. But all these guys are training with watts, like we've talked about before. Yeah. And I don't have a watt meter, obviously. I'm a broke.
So you're out there going, what?
Yeah. But they're on this like steady watt program. So we would get to a hill and they're just like crawling.
Yep.
And then when they get to the top of the hill, there's no coasting. There's no coasting with this group. And so I was
lay down the watts on the downhill.
Yes. And so it was a different ride, but we did like 53 miles in I don't know, under 4 hours. It was moving, and everybody's on mountain bikes. It was a faster pace ride than I accustomed to, but I need more of that in my life.
I'm about to say, there's your polarized training we were talking about right there. Do 20% of that each week, You are taking things, and then you do 12 weeks of that block.
Yeah.
Then you're ready to invest in a power meter and start training with power.
And then I rode Monday, just a short ride, and then obviously Tuesday night. Can't miss Tuesday night single speed.
Of course not.
Even if my single speed's broke. I almost pulled my Soulcraft off the wall, but I was like, eh.
When was the last time you rode that one?
It's been over a year.
Okay.
Yeah, she's retired.
I understand.
I'm conflicted on, I love that bike. I want to keep it intact. It's kind of the loaner bike, the family bike, but I also feel a little guilty that it's just hanging on the wall, being like a museum piece. It seems a little greedy, to have a bike like that, but it's antiquated technology, kind of, super steep head tube. Well, I mean, that's literally why I got a new bike, because I was going to end up replacing everything on that bike.
I know.
But so I took my bike to Velo yesterday, Velo Republic. And people keep crucifying me about this. Should I say Velo Republic?
If you're a roadie, yes.
Yeah, but I can
if
call
you're
it
a good
whatever
old boy, you can call it whatever you want to.
I've always called it Velo Republic.
I've always said Velo too. And whenever I'm in the roadie crowd,
you have to Velo.
I don't. No, but the people around me shiver.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know,
because I have no class.
Yeah, well, I mean, I get, I wouldn't say velodrome, but I would say velodrome. So maybe I don't know.
Yeah, I think Velo is technically accurate, but Velo is...
It's Texas.
It's Texas.
It's Texas, y'all. So I took my bike up there yesterday, and the only thing that's getting changed when it gets changed over is I'm putting new grips on it. It's time for some new ESI chunkies. And then I went ahead and ordered my final stem, because I was working on what stem I wanted on there, and I was just trying out a couple of different stems. So now I finally I know exactly where my bars are going to be, and right now I have a riser stem. It's a 6-degree rise, 80 millimeter, and so I went with a 7-degree 80 millimeter, and I'm going to flip it so I can use the rest of my steer tube, and just clean up my cockpit a little bit.
Okay.
So, and then I ordered brakes and levers for the Chumba. So, the Chumba's getting closer to all my parts being amassed, but my wheels still aren't built, Gabe.
I had a question I meant to ask you.
Mm-hmm.
When Sean and I were talking about hookless rims.
Mm-hmm.
And
I don't know. I don't have an opinion.
Are your current ones hookless?
I honestly don't know.
Oh, okay. Because you were defensive when Sean and I were very adamant about don't go hookless. Nobody should go hookless.
I said you can do whatever you want. It's still a free country for now.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, maybe I stepped on you.
No, I don't know that I know. I mean, I run Nexties are on all my bikes, and I don't know if. Well, let's look. I don't know if Nexties are hookless.
Okay.
I don't know if they have a.
I thought about it when I was looking at some wheel stuff yesterday. I thought, you know what? Maybe those Nexties are hookless, and Brad was being defensive. But
no, I was just saying you can do whatever you want. I mean, you can.
And you can.
Even if you're wrong.
I don't think I will ever go hookless, but I could. I've been known to change my mind.
What's the benefit of a hookless?
That's a darn good question.
Yeah.
I think weight. I think it saves a few grams, but I don't know that for certain. I don't know why hookless is a thing.
So I'm going to be really dumb here. Because none of these say hookless, but it shows the profile. Is that a hookless rim? Sorry.
I'm not seeing a hook.
Yeah.
So
I think these are the ones that I'm running right here.
But it could be they just don't reflect the hook itself in the profile because it's just for measuring. Only my understanding is when they're hookless, they are labeled as such because you need to know they're hookless to make sure you get the right tires and so forth. But I could be wrong. I could be wrong.
It does say clincher hookless. So yeah, I run hookless rims. I don't know. I've not had any issues.
Okay.
They are really tight tolerance rims, meaning getting a new tire on there is a little more difficult.
And it could be, hookless in a mountain bike environment is different than hookless in a road or cyclocross or gravel environment with narrower rims. It's possible.
It does say this rim is designed for tubeless or tubeless ready tires only. Inner tubes are okay, but the tire must have tubeless beads for safe retention.
Okay.
There you go.
There you go. There you go.
So I really didn't have a dog in the fight, but I mean, I guess the rims I'm running are hookless, so I don't have a problem with them.
There we go.
Never had a problem with them, so.
Well, but maybe they haven't always been hookless. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about.
I have not enough information to even have an informed opinion.
I might know an expert. I might know an expert on this topic.
Do you?
I might. A true expert. I think I may reach out to him and see if he's willing to talk to us about this concept.
That'd be cool. Speaking of rims, I went down somewhat of a rabbit hole last night on hubs.
Okay.
I did not realize how many we take for granted. We talk about the lack of standards or the standards or the standard that there is no standard, essentially.
Sure.
But bike packing, I forgot the name of the YouTube channel, bike packing, whatever. I think it's bike packing gear or something like that. He puts on some pretty good videos, and they went to the DT Swiss headquarters in the United States, and we're talking about DT Swiss wheels. And from a bike packing perspective specifically, they have a new hub set up that you can literally service the free hub body in the wild with zero tools, and it's very cool technology. But so basically, when you take your through axle out, your end cap, if you just pull the end cap, it just comes out like, I don't know, a couple millimeters, and then you can just take your whole cassette off. You can get to all your ratchets and your springs, and it's just a spline drive. What do you call it? A gear. I can't remember.
Just call it a doohickey for now.
It's a round ratcheted piece that gets sprung towards the inner race.
Yeah, and now I'm thinking Sir Mix-a-Lot. But anyway, go ahead.
I get sprung. But it's just super smart. And DT Swiss is all about, making their stuff better all the time. And it occurred to me, I've never had any DT Swiss wheels. And I know people that swear by it.
I've had some DT Swiss stuff that I really, really, really liked.
Yeah. But I have not ever ran them, So I started thinking, well, maybe I need to at least put my hands on some. But they have, let me see, Ratchet Technologies over.
And I say that, that was the DT Swiss stuff that I had in the past. That was 15 years ago.
Yeah.
And I really liked it then. And I know they've only gotten better since then.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get me wrong, I'm still an i9 fan.
I love i9.
Love me some i9s.
Yeah.
But
so here's the one I was talking about, the Ratchet EXP right here.
Okay.
So this end cap, so basically your whole cassette's threaded on here, right? So it's like an XD driver kind of situation.
Okay.
And then this is your ratchet system that is threaded into the hub, so it's not floating like most of them are.
Okay.
So you don't have a spring on the back that holds it to the, because this is what causes your engagement right here.
Okay.
And so this is all just it's a super light, clean, efficient system. You pull this out and you can just pull everything off, this spacer, this piece, and this spring, and you can service all this in the field, which is, I thought, A, it's a great thing, but B, I've never had to service my free hub in the field.
There we go. So there goes that's my two. A,
Yeah.
How necessary is it to service a free hub?
It did occur to me that it's kind of a solution looking for a problem.
Okay.
But
And then two, is it because it needs servicing in the field that they make it serviceable in the
possibility. I don't know, but I just think, I mean, it's cool to see people continuing to push the tech.
Sure, definitely. And then my next question, though, is, because I'm an idiot, I take all my shit to be wrenched by somebody that knows what they're doing. How many people are going to know what to do in the field with that if they need to?
Well, I mean, mostly it's about cleaning debris. Like, say you're on day 8 or 7 or whatever of the rat, and you go through the red roads, and it's just windy as hell, and all of a sudden your drivetrain's just bogged down, and you've got sand all in your free hub body. You know, you can literally take it out, wipe it down, put some light lube in there, and be ready to go.
And be better.
Yeah. So I think in that scenario, I think more, it's just the fact that it's field serviceable with no tools.
I mean, is this intended as a multi-day specific type setup, or is this just...
Well, they have 3 different ratchet systems, and the one that they were touting as field serviceable without any tools is aimed towards multi-day adventure.
Okay.
And they also do a lot of...
Interesting.
And they also do a lot of like overly engineered
Episode 82 brought to you by TT Swiss.
But they talk about one of the things I'd never actually thought about, because I mean, forgive me, but I've never ran around as a heavy guy. But they talk about total load weight on their wheels.
Yeah.
And their wheels, most of their wheels are right around 280 pounds.
I'm about to say a very greatly ignored.
Yes, I've never even thought about it.
Yes.
Until he went down this rabbit hole, and he's talking about, well, when you talk about your weight, all your gear, all the stuff you strap to your bike.
Typically a heavier bike to begin with to be able to carry everything.
So I think most of their wheels were like right at 280, 285 total weight.
Right.
Which rider weight, bike weight is part of that too.
Yep.
And then bag weight. Now the thing that stumped me or kind of made me start second guessing is if you have a load weight rating on that, wouldn't it be divided by 2? Because you're displacing it theoretically.
Theoretically, but then you're also starting getting into the realms of dynamic weights and static weights as well.
God, you sound so smart. So sexy.
You got to figure that's a dynamic weight.
Yeah. But I'd never even thought, like, I mean, I run the same wheels that I run every day that I run bike packing, but I build my wheels. I don't build my wheels, to be clear, but I build my wheels with the thought process of they need to be strong and light.
Yep.
You know.
Well, and then hell, throw those on an e-bike, and then you're throwing another 20 pounds on there as well.
I think e-bikes have to be, their wheels need to be rated different. I think
and that's my point.
Yeah.
Man, what I saw something yesterday again when I was kind of looking at wheels for some saw a 38 spoke wheel. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
That might suit my needs.
And see, on the flip side of that, my new set of wheels that Gabe's allegedly building are going to be 28 spoke.
Yeah.
This is the first time I built 28 spoke wheels. But the reason being is this will be my 4th set of Nexty hoops that I've built up into wheels. And I've ran 32s on all of them in the past. And there's been once or twice. Now, I run bladed spokes, which are very strong and very light, which is typically not the case. Well, you can have any 2 of the 3. They're not the cheapest option.
Yep.
But they're super strong and super light. They build a great wheel. And I've broken 2 spokes at one point and finished a ride, and the wheel was still true because it's a carbon wheel, you know?
Right.
It's not as affected by that stress.
Yeah.
So
trust me, I'm playing with that right now. The bladed spokes I'm on right now, it's like, well, that sounded disconcerting, but everything's fine.
Yeah. So, I mean, like I said, this will be my fourth set of wheels that are built nearly identical, except for the fact that these will have 4 less spokes per wheel.
Yeah.
And I'm not concerned with it. So, we'll see. I mean, it's not for a weight savings. I mean, it is minimal weight savings, but it's just to see what it feels like, you know.
I hear you.
But that DT Swiss stuff, man, those guys are ultra smart over there, and some of their videos are definitely worth watching. But it just got me to thinking, like, there's so many hub options out there, and we've touched on it before. We've talked about center lock versus 6-bolt, and then you get into, like, even DT Swiss, they make straight blade hubs, they are straight pull spoke hubs, and then they make J-bend spoke hubs. And then even some of their rims, they call it, I forgot what they call it, but they have rims that you can't even see the nipples, which doesn't seem like a great field serviceability wheel to me, because if the nipple's in the hub, like, I don't even know. I think you have to take the wheel off or the tire off in order to mess with it. But they just have a bunch of really smart stuff. And then he was even talking about, I'd never even thought about butted spokes or tapered spokes. They, on these that he was showing in particular, they have a lot more mass towards the head of the spoke where it laces into the hub. So you have more mass there for strength. And then it's thinner towards the hoop, so you have less mass to spin up.
You're putting me to sleep now.
Yeah, sorry.
You really are.
Sorry.
You really are. I get it.
Titties.
Well,
titties.
You said nipples, and I started going in a different direction.
Well, that just to be said, it just got me thinking how many different hub options there are out there, you know, and from major manufacturers, you know, and then the small guys, you know, like Paul Hubs and Phil Wood and White Industries, and, you know, I mean, then you have Shimano makes all their different lines of hubs, and then TT Swiss, obviously, and I9, and
it used to be. It used to be Chris King and everything else.
Yeah. And Chris King still does a great job.
Chris King still does a great job.
But you know, you got Onyx, and I mean, there's hundreds.
I don't understand.
Hub options.
Yeah, I don't understand how all these places stay in business, to be honest with you, because it used to be you had your OEM stuff.
And then you had your aftermarket.
And then you had a couple of premiums. And now, I mean, everything now.
Like if I was a newbie and I wanted to build a set of wheels, the choices are overwhelming. And
along those lines, and that's where I liked the DT Swiss stuff.
Mm-hmm.
The DT Swiss OEM stuff used to be.
I'm good. Get me one. I gotta start bulking.
The DT Swiss OEM stuff. That's where that was kind of a wake up call for me. It's like, this is an OEM rim or wheel setup.
Yeah,
that's really, really sweet.
Yeah,
and this isn't their premium one, even at the OEM level. And it's like, man. So they did take wheel technology to that next level at the mass market.
Yeah,
which was a good thing. And I guess what I'm getting at is now, it used to be you buy a bike off the shelf or a factory bike, and you almost had to replace the wheels immediately.
Yeah, it seems. I mean, it's kind of like cars. You know, they skimp everywhere they can. They make a bunch of stuff in cars out of plastic and shit. Just to keep the overall price down. And it seems like, you know, on a off-the-shelf bike, unless you're buying, you know, a top-tier off-the-shelf bike, you know, they skimp you on things like handlebars, seat post, bottom bracket, and wheels, you know. Or you get a crappy frame and great components.
Yeah.
Or you go top tier and you get Cadillac everything.
We're back to the tripod, the stool, two of the three.
Yeah. So, you know, you're either my mentality when I was buying off the shelf bikes, which I did for, a decade plus, was buy the best bike you can afford, ride the absolute crap out of it, and then when something breaks, you upgrade. You don't make a linear movement.
No,
you put something better on there.
But that's not a practical solution anymore, because everything changes every 2 years.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. But
and that's what drives me batty. It's like,
but I started realizing that you can, overall, in the long run, you can save money and save parts from hitting a trash bin or, a recycle bin or whatever by just building a bike from the get-go. It takes some decision making. It takes an initial investment, but in the long run, if you buy components that you believe in, that are backed by actual warranties and people that care about their stuff.
So not Temu, is that what you're saying?
Right, yeah. Or what's the new one? Shein?
I don't know.
But, I mean, and that's why, I build my bikes the way I do, because I try to buy American components and, buy from small manufacturers that still care and do all the right things. And, my bikes for the most part have been bulletproof. I haven't had any major failures in the past couple of bikes I've built. I mean, my Karate Monkey, I don't know if you'd call that a failure, but it's going to get remedied.
It'll be addressed.
It will be addressed,
and we won't talk. We won't go any further than that.
Someday we'll let the cat out of the bag.
Someday. Speaking of American.
Mm-hmm.
Did you get a chance to watch that World Cup gravel coverage?
I haven't, Kevin.
Oh, that's fine.
I'm so sorry, buddy.
It's fine.
I say I didn't have a chance, but I admittedly watched all of the Rampage coverage.
That's fine. I was just seeing if it was something for us to discuss, and we'll save it for another day.
It was funny, though. I was involved in some conversation about that with what I'm calling the Fast Guy group. And they were just talking about how much of a joke that course was and stuff. And so I was like, just because a lot of it was bike path or bike path-esque. And then obviously, like you were talking about, the start as well.
Yeah.
And they said that, I didn't realize this, but once they said it, I remembered. Last year, they did a very similar start where it bottlenecked real quick, and then it was like a 180 to get onto the single track or path or whatever. And last year, everybody was just cutting it, and they were cutting in, and like basically instead of making the full 180, they were just cutting short and cutting across.
Right.
So this year they just taped the shit out of it, so nobody did that. So
yeah, I mean, I'm personally convinced I could be proven wrong,
mm-hmm.
but I am the gravel conspiracy guy. Is that a new hashtag? I don't know.
Uh-huh.
I am convinced that was UCI's way to off the front prove value of the UCI points is because your call ups or your staging are based on your UCI points. So if you're just showing up for Worlds as a non-regular UCI competitor,
right? You're screwed from the get-go.
You're screwed from the get-go.
Yeah,
and that's kind of their way to feed that UCI series. Along those lines, did you see where Lifetime changed things up for next year?
No. Talk to me. I've not heard. That's the first I've heard.
Okay, so and I don't have all the notes in front of me, but high level, Crusher and the Tusher and Trinidad are out as Lifetime events for next year.
Ooh, I bet Trinidad's upset about that.
But it's, we talked about it several times. It's like they're not getting their numbers they were looking for that event.
Well, and they lost one. What did we discuss that they changed that was going to affect going forward? That was SBT. It limited the amount of people, but Trinidad was also something else. Justin was saying I can't remember now.
I don't recall that. Maybe it'll come to me. But
I've talked way too much since then.
so those two are out.
But Crusher and the Tusher didn't even happen this year because of the fires, right?
Was it fires or
floods?
Or flood? One or the other.
Remember.
Weather is always a factor.
Weather is always a factor.
All right, so both of those are out. I believe they are putting Little Sugar in. I think.
Which Little Sugar was
That's
this past weekend,
the mountain bike race,
and Big Sugar's this coming weekend.
And now Big Sugar is a requirement. For the points for the Grand Prix, you have to do Big Sugar.
It's not a droppable race.
It is not a droppable race, and I think they only get one drop.
So Lachlan will be there.
He'll have to be.
Yeah.
This is probably the Lachlan rule, quite frankly, but we'll see.
Dude, how about that guy? Did you watch that?
I have not. I just know what he accomplished. I haven't seen any footage on it or anything like that.
And just he rode around the entirety of Australia, which he's from.
Right.
And I forgot what the exact requirement, but the mileage was very specific. It had to be at least, I want to say 12,000 kilometers.
It was 3,000 miles, I think.
No. Maybe you're right. Shit. I don't know. I have way too much stuff in my head.
All right, you look that up, but I'm going to talk a little bit more about the lifetime change because there's one really big piece that this went 180 degrees from what I would have expected. And I don't know that it's a good idea, but hey, Lifetime may prove me wrong. They reduced the field size for the Grand Prix. So I thought they would expand it, quite frankly, which makes all the sense in the world to me, particularly if you're trying to show off USA Premier Gravel and, hey, let's get more talent into the mix.
Yeah, that seems like the opposite direction. What do you think the thought process is there?
I haven't really had time to digest it.
Yeah.
I have thoughts of what the result of that might be, but the why they're doing that, the only thing I can think of, and this has been kind of an objection somewhat among athletes that choose not to do the Grand Prix. Lifetime wants to be able to control the message from the athletes as much as they can. And I don't mean that in a you're under my thumb sort of thing. It's if there's more athletes to make sure they're saying the right things on social media or make sure they're talking about Lifetime enough, that's a lot of cats to herd. So if you have fewer athletes that are you have to keep an eye on, and the ones you keep an eye on are the ones that have proven that they're going to be very sponsor friendly as far as Lifetime's concerned.
Yeah.
I think that's just easier to manage. That's the only thing I can think of, but I don't know that for sure. That's a super loose guess off the top of my head when you ask that question.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, going back to UCI, I think there's a chance Lifetime may have cracked the door for the UCI USA series to actually now have
a little bit more foothold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there are that many more athletes out there that are wanting to get to that elite level in gravel racing.
I mean, but let's be fair. It's the Keegan Swenson show, period. I mean, okay. I mean, everybody shows up for second place.
So, and I'm not
sorry.
No, you can touch me anytime you want to. I'm going to go in a direction here that I've been kind of holding in my back pocket for a couple weeks now. And I'm not saying Keegan's the guy here, but it's the Keegan Swenson show. Kind of reminded me. So again, one of the big UCI things is the anti-doping policies and things like that. There is a very, very persistent rumor out there that somebody towards the top of the field, I'm not saying it's Keegan, that's not what I'm implying at all, but renowned racer is highly suspected of doping right now, and it's kind of like semi-common knowledge,
really,
sort of thing.
Well, we know Dylan is aerodoping.
Well, he is aerodoping. He is aerodoping.
That's sad.
So, but it's also not unexpected.
No, definitely not. I mean, we've talked about this so many times. Like when you get to the top percentile, everybody that's with you is doing everything they can legally possibly do.
Yeah.
You know? And so everybody's looking for every advantage they have just to get that extra 1%, 2%. And that's why, I applaud Dylan for trying to find it in a wind tunnel.
Yeah.
You know?
And being very transparent about everything he's doing, that I'm
Yeah.
trying to find every edge I possibly can.
Yeah.
And I'm doing stupid shit.
Yeah.
And some of that stupid shit pays off and everyone else starts doing
Yeah.
it.
So, to a guy that I firmly believe is not doping, Lachlan, back to his record around Australia.
Please.
14,201 kilometers, 30 days, 9 hours, 59 minutes.
So how many miles is that? I don't know kilometers.
8,824 miles.
9,000. Okay. That's right. That's what I saw was 9,000 miles.
Fucking insane.
And to still have basically locked in the podium for the Lifetime Grand Prix.
And he seems like genuinely one of the nicest guys out there, you know? I don't know. That's monstrous. So it'd be interesting to see him at Big Sugar and see if he's just destroyed from that effort or if he's got incredible fitness just on tap.
Right. Well, and
I would have to think that he lost some top end.
My understand somebody was doing the math that I was listening to. I can't remember what, but Lachlan doesn't have to do much at Big Sugar to lock in his podium.
Right. Yeah.
Is what it boils down to.
Well, he's currently sitting in second place, isn't he? Or is he in third place?
It's second or third. It's not first. We know that he can't get first, but but he has to appear at Big Sugar.
Okay.
I think, but he doesn't I think if he's top 20, I think he pretty much locks it down at that or something like that. And I could be proven wrong. I'm an idiot, so don't take that for.
New event lineup to include 6 iconic events with 1 drop race. So historically, they've had 2 drop races.
Right, and it was 8 events, I think.
Yeah, now it's 6.
Is Little Sugar in there or not?
It doesn't say. Here's race lineup. Check out each of our 7 uniquely iconic off-road events. 2024. I think this is 2024 events.
Okay.
Oh wait, 2025. Here we go. Sea Otter, Unbound, Leadville, Schwamigan. That one always messes me up. Little Sugar, Big Sugar.
So Little Sugar is part of it now. Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. So, so we're
leaderboard. That's what we're looking at.
We're definitely into that realm of.
Okay, so I'm sorry. It looks like Lachlan's in 5th overall. Payson's in 2nd. I thought Lachlan was further up than that.
Well, maybe that was after maybe that was prior to Rad. Now with Rad in the mix, it throws those. My understanding is if and maybe he just needs to. So who's in 3rd and who's in 4th now?
Matthew Beers is in 3rd and Cole Patton is in 4th. And Cole Patton's Keegan's teammate, right?
I thought that was somebody else. Maybe.
I could be wrong.
I'm a Matt Beers fan too. So.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see how everything shakes out. Our boy Dylan's in 11th place overall.
He can
squeak a top 10.
He can still top 10's money, right?
Yeah.
So he could still finish in the money.
I'd be freaking stoked for him.
I would be excited as hell.
Yeah.
I would be excited as hell. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. So that's this weekend.
Yeah.
I mean, so and you had mentioned SBT as well. So they finally got everything officially sorted out for 2025. Whereas I think we talked about before, what we thought was official was just their proposal, but basically the proposal was accepted. I had another one of my crazy gravel conspiracy shower thoughts this morning, though.
Go ahead. I'll listen.
Hypothetically. Hypothetically. Okay. So, and this is not me trashing Lifetime. I don't want it to sound like that at all. Really, this is if I were to write a story with a fictional bad guy, it would be so. Let's say Lifetime Grand Prix came about because that was specifically a move to cockblock UCI trying to make the premier gravel events of the world. Okay, so it's hypothetically. And then, Lifetime makes all these investments in these big events, and they buy out big events and then create their own Big Sugar. So they learned that, I don't have to buy these events. I can make a big event. And maybe their goal is to have the biggest event out there. But then we got these little obviously big guys out in Steamboat, SBT Gravel, that are actually making bigger events than the Lifetime events.
And Lifetime's jealous.
I mean, we've heard of corporate greed and corporate America type that reach out to other big money types. So maybe all this bitching from the ranchers out around there, maybe that wasn't really a ranchers of the county thing. Who knows? Maybe it was.
Were they government plants? Was this a psyop?
Maybe this was UCI. Maybe this was Lifetime. Maybe this was Spinistry going out there and going, "Hey, let's disrupt things. Let's pay off a rancher." Or, "Hey, you own stock in my company. Let's we need to make my events the biggest in the world. We can't have these independent guys out there showing us up." Like, I don't know. It was just a very loose shower thought, because as much rancor as there was about the SBT stuff, it was only that one voice, the air quotes ranchers out in the county, that seemed to be the ones that were causing all the kerfluffle, where everyone else in the county was somewhat supportive of the event.
I still haven't asked Lambo what his overall perception of that is.
That would be a very good perspective. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. You need to talk to Lambo and fill us in next week.
I do. I need to holler at that boy. He's caught up in kart racing right now.
Are they still doing that?
Oh, dude, he is. I mean, he is all in. Hey, hot stuff.
Look at you.
God, this girl is...
Service with a smile.
Man, she knows how I like it, too. It's like it's still my birthday today. I'm not going to eat on the air, though.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a pretty interesting little thing.
But, it's
But SBT... It wasn't one of the Lifetime events this year.
No, it never has. They're technically a Lifetime competitor.
Sure.
So if Lifetime's trying, again, I'm not saying this is what Lifetime. This is just, if I were to write a story,
it sounds like it's factual. It sounds like it's based entirely on facts.
But hypothetically speaking, if I was this corporate behemoth and it was my goal to have the premier gravel event, I wouldn't. If they'll send cease and desist to some little Peckerwood.
Yeah.
I'm not supposed to say Peckerwood anymore, am I?
You're not?
I think that's
one of my favorite racist terms.
Is it racist, though?
Yeah, it's against white people.
It's against white people.
Yeah,
I understand.
I think it's funny. I love racist terms against white people. I think it's freaking hilarious. We have the weakest ones, like honky. It's like unoffensive. It's funny. Cracker. They're all so funny. Like, couldn't we have gotten better derogatory names?
Redneck used to be pretty good.
I think a lot of people just lean into it.
It got completely distilled. No ifs, ands, or buts about it.
I mean, that's how you do it. You just lean into it, If you let them know you're affected, they just keep leaning. They keep pushing harder.
Yeah.
Speaking of rewriting history, have you seen... I didn't even know that this movie was out, But I'm a big Guy Ritchie fan. And I know that's kind of divisive because I know a lot of people don't like Guy Ritchie movies.
I love Guy Ritchie movies.
I do too. Have you seen the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare or whatever it's called?
No.
I didn't even know it was out. It's been out for like a year.
It sounds kind of familiar. I didn't realize it was Guy Ritchie.
Mm-hmm. It's got Henry Cavill in it, however you say his name.
Yeah.
Superman.
Yep.
And then I don't know the guy's name, but the guy that played Jack Reacher in the series, the more desirable of the ones for me, the huge guy, he's in it as well. But it's a fun watch, and it's allegedly based off of Churchill's diaries that were just unclassified like 10 years ago or something.
Gotcha.
About the commandeering of the U-boats and cutting off supply chains to stifle the Nazis, and it's a cool movie.
Oh, well, it sounds like it's right up my alley.
It's fun.
Okay, all right.
I don't know if it's as factual, as it is traumatized. But
well, maybe it's factual as some of the stuff I'm spewing right now. So
it's a fun watch.
There we go, and that's all. We're just doing this for fun.
Yeah.
Nobody should be offended.
No.
Nobody should send cease and desist.
So I know that Big Sugar is probably without a doubt going to be just completely dominated by Keegan Swenson. But I am going to watch it literally just to see what Lachlan does. I want to see.
It'll be interesting to see what the coverage is like for this one. To be honest with you,
the funny thing is, as I'm looking at the overall points here, Keegan hasn't missed a single race. And it looks like you said Big Sugar is mandatory. I was going to say.
Next year it will be, not this year.
Next year. Because it looks like he could just skip that race and still get first.
Yeah. Keegan has first locked in. He locked in first at Trinidad.
So maybe he'll just go and treat it like a training ride.
Or maybe he'll let his teammate get the best possible finish if it gets him higher up in the rankings. Who knows? Maybe he's really good friends with somebody else and maybe he wants Dylan to get a top 10 and he finishes behind. Who knows?
Stranger things have happened.
I don't know. Strange Bedfellows is definitely. I think Strange Bedfellows is going to be a perfect example of what that limited lifetime field could be next year. That's definitely and maybe that's what this is for. Maybe that's a contrived way to limit potential for team tactics of any kind as well. Because if we're only accepting this many athletes, and we make sure that these people aren't teammates, there are no team tactics. So then it becomes alliances.
So what was the? How many athletes were there?
It was 30 this year. They're down to
25 and 25.
25 this year, but they're only accepting 22, and then they're going to designate their own 3 wild cards in each as well. So that's interesting. So I would definitely I think the off-season chatter about it for those that are making a point to not do Lifetime next year or that we're hoping to and don't make it. I think some of the feedback in the off-season on that will be interesting because I think they're making the call in November for everybody.
It says application open until 10/28.
Yeah.
24. So I think, and I hate to assume anything, but I think what our young lady that we interviewed a couple of weeks back, I think she already kind of knew some of this.
Obviously.
Yeah, I think this was already going on behind the scenes we were unaware.
Well, no, I didn't. Yeah, some of it was going on behind the scenes, but actually, I mean, now, along those lines, I mean, one of her biggest objections was all of the events at altitude, which was one of the reasons she wasn't going back.
Yeah.
But they took out Crusher and the Tusher and Trinidad, and both of those are altitude events. So, that objection, that issue, was very commonly spouted amongst the Grand Prix athletes.
Yeah.
A lot of people didn't like how much time was spent at elevation, at altitude, because it was an unfair advantage for those who basically live and train there.
Yeah, but you're not going to take Leadville out of the mix.
No.
And that's what I would consider the biggest elevation race.
But, I mean, it's a factor at Crusher. It's a factor at Trinidad. You're not
Yeah.
going to do those well without it.
Yeah.
Little Sugar, no. Big Sugar, no. Schwamigan, no.
Yeah.
Sea Otter, no.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what? We're down to Leadville's Unbound, obviously. So, Leadville's the only altitude event now, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's actually going to be very interesting. But, that said, now not everyone's going to accept, or maybe they will, what top 15 this year are automatically granted in for next year. So, assuming all of those 15 in men's and women's do transfer over to next year, that's only leaving 7 slots open for application.
Well, am I reading this wrong? It says 50 total athletes, 25 men and 25 women.
Right.
And then it says 6 wild card spots, 3 men and 3 women, will be announced after the second event. So that's going to encourage everybody to show that wants to have their hat in the ring to show up to the first 2 events.
Maybe. Okay. All right. That part I missed. So that's...
So I think that if I'm reading that right,
you have to show up for Sea Otter and Unbound and kick ass to qualify.
Yeah, but I'm reading that as that's 6 additional athletes on top of the 50.
No. It's on the top of the 44.
Oh, okay.
So that's the
way
wild
you understand
card.
it?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's the wild card. So, okay, that makes more. Okay, so that makes a little bit more sense. Now I'm kind of following the lot. So you need to earn your way in by showing up at Sea Otter and Unbound to potentially qualify for those 3 spots men, 3 spots women.
Well, I think the other factor too here, and I don't know what this guy's situation is, but you got a guy on here that's in 30th place, and they honestly don't even give him the acknowledgement of 30 because he was a Lifetime Grand Prix participant, and he literally didn't show up for a single race. Logan Owen.
I think Lauren did the same.
Yeah, and then this guy that's in 29th place, Jack Odrin, he looks like he's only been at 2 races, and he finished, I mean, he got 4 points and 8 points. So I think they're trying to cull those bottom tier participants out and make it more of a Top Gun show. But I don't know. Yeah, you're right. Lauren Stevens, 0 points.
Yeah, I don't know how the application / invitation process worked
Right.
last time around, and I don't know the particulars of. I was actually kind of surprised to see Lauren as a Lifetime Grand Prix participant because I know I'd had a conversation with her last year or prior to the season start this year where that wasn't her plan then, and then she showed up as on the list. I'm not sure how that came about.
Well, yeah, she had to submit an application, didn't she?
I don't know. Maybe there is an invitation process. I don't know. For some.
Yeah.
I don't know. So or maybe her team made her submit, and I don't know. Again, I don't know all this level of detail.
Either way, it'll be interesting to see.
I'm not going to assume.
It'll be interesting.
It will be interesting. I think the race in for 3 spots. I think that's an interesting concept. I'm kind of on board with that, but I am still leaning towards the. I think a wider field in the long run is more beneficial to the sport than a narrower field, but that's just me. I could be completely wrong in that assumption because I think that is the talent out there to win it. No, not in the people that are going to win next year are already in there this year.
I mean,
but
unless Keegan decides to go tour the world,
the people that are going to win 2 years from now, 3 years from now, 4 years from now,
yeah,
they need to start racing side by side with Keegan next year. Is what I'm getting at, and that's what's going to take the USA gravel talent to that next level. Is those second tier athletes to be mixing it up with the front of the line tier as much as possible. And I think that's what's going to be beneficial to the racing scene long term. Again, Lifetime could completely prove me wrong on this, and they likely will. My concern would be that this gets more elite and more removed from what made gravel popular, and starts doing what the roadie race scene did to things. But that's just me.
Either way, it's going to be interesting to see how everything shakes out next year. I mean, unless Keegan decides to get fat and lazy in the off season, or he decides to go walk the earth like David Carradine on Kung Fu, he's going to be the guy to watch next year. Unless somebody just comes out of the blue, or
maybe he gets offered
a pro deal,
a world tour deal, or something like that, or UCI convinces him that, hey, we want you to race all the UCI gravel races, so we're gonna hook you up with this European. Who knows? I mean, obviously, no, it's too late in the game for all that to happen. The stuff like that has already happened. If it's going to for next season, those pieces are always put in place.
Yeah,
a year before. But it will be interesting.
I'd love to see him have stiffer competition next year. I mean, it's very cool to see someone just dominate, but it's kind of like the Yankees back in their heyday. It just became boring to watch because they just. But
okay, let's go with the hype. So again, where we started talking about the doping aspect of it, and I'm not saying Keegan's. That's
so
not
you're saying Keegan's doping.
I am not saying Keegan's doping. What I'm saying is, if one athlete is dominating, all it takes is one injury or one crazy life event of some sort to take you out of the mix.
Does he have kids, by the way?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know his personal
situation. Or is
situation.
he married?
I don't know his personal situation at all.
Yeah, I don't either.
I know he's stupid fast.
Yeah.
He's so stupid fast that none of the other stupid fast people think they can compete.
Yeah. I mean, they literally show up for second place.
Yes.
And the thing that's so maddening is you watch him just dominate these races, and he doesn't even look like he's trying. I mean, he looks cool, calm, and composed.
We're back to that is the Euro argument, is that, well, there is no real talent in the USA. The real talent's over here. So he's not. He seems that way because he's almost.
So he's a big fish in a little pond.
Basically.
Yeah.
That's the story they're telling. Whether it's true or not, well, we don't have any way to gauge that. Again, when you do watch that the world's coverage, the statements they made about it's not a real race till the best Americans are side by side with the best Euros or the best internationals on a classic American course. It's that would be interesting.
That's classic, schedule conflict even on a small local scale like we deal with. People have to figure out, well, am I going to do this event or am I going to do this event? And I guess. I
mean, Unbound is obviously the one event that ties it all together.
Yeah.
But where that comes up short is the Euros aren't properly trained for.
You saw how the Euros fared at Unbound this year. Yeah. I hate to give Dylan so much credit, but he legitimately was just talking offhand. He goes, they're going to get hot, they're going to flat, and they're going to quit. And 50% of the Euros did exactly that. But
they did that this year, so they know differently next year.
That's fair. But until you start having Europeans dominate Unbound, then I think that argument doesn't have any legs to stand on.
The argument both ways is American gravelers don't know how to do Euro gravel, and Euro gravelers don't know how to do American gravel.
I guess that's fair.
So we just need to do Australian gravel for everyone.
And Lachlan's going to dominate.
And he would be fine with that.
He's my favorite hero right now. Can't think what else I was going to talk about.
What time do you head out tomorrow?
We're leaving at 8:30.
Okay.
So I got to go After this podcast, my buddy Andrew is here, and we're going to take Gage's car down the street to my buddy who has a lift in a shop, and we're going to change out his AC compressor finally, because he's been without AC for like 2 years. I feel like it's shit, Dad. Well, I kept trying to fix it without changing the compressor. Finally, I got a compressor, and I'm like, let's just change it out. I got to pick up my bike. I'm going to pack all my stuff. And then we're meeting here and rolling out, I think at 8:30 tomorrow morning. It's about a 9-hour drive.
So how big a crew do you have going up there this year?
Oh, dude. We've got, just with our little camp, we've got two of the biggest cabins. And I don't even know everybody that's staying in their cabin. But we've got, I think, people I know that are going somewhere in the 25 range. Going to be, I mean, and the weather looks so promising. I think the low, which is relatively high, typically it's in the 30s at the start. This year, I think it's mid 40s, upper 40s, and I think the high is like 57, 58 or something. It's going to be a glorious day on the bike. I mean, any day I can ride a bike and wear long sleeves and not get hot, it's awesome. So, I'm so excited, and I'm so glad that you made a solo podcast about 4 months ago now that sparked me to start riding my bike every day. I mean, that literally was the tiny little seed that it took to get me to feeling so confident about this race. So,
excellent.
Thank you for doing that. I know
you're very welcome.
I know other people have said it before you, and they've said it after you, and they've said it different ways, but for whatever reason, that resonated with me so hard, and I just kicked myself in the ass, and I was like, why am I not doing that? And so I just started doing it, and I feel 1,000 times better. So,
I am looking very forward to hearing your tales from this weekend.
Oh, I mean, I'm not planning on crushing anybody's dreams or anything. Let's be fair. I just want to.
I mean about the drunken debauchery and.
There's never a party. Never a party. It's going to be good times for sure. So, and this weather. I mean, it was 90, what, yesterday?
94 yesterday.
High of 69 today.
Nice.
It is bike packing weather. When I get back from BT, that's first thing I'm trying to figure out is what.
If I get my shit together and I get the camper packed up and everything, I can squeeze in a bike ride tonight, and I think I'm going to.
Yeah, you should. You should definitely ride your bike.